guys, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're gonna be ranking the best witches from the Vampire Diaries. Now I was just thinking about this the other day, about individually, throughout all the Vampire Diaries, who would be considered the best witch. I mean, there's a lot of really powerful witches from TVD, but who was the actually best witch, actually got something done, who had some of the best spells, who was the most reliable, who was the most clutch. You know, that's what makes a witch to me. Not only do you have to be powerful, but you have to be reliable. You gotta impact some major events in TVD. So I'm gonna be ranking them from worst to best, and I'm just gonna say now, some of y'all are gonna be mad. Some of y'all are gonna be really mad with my ranking, but you know what? It's a personal opinion, so don't get too mad with me, y'all. Don't get too mad about this ranking, okay? Don't take it too hard. Before we get into the video, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. Also, if you want to check out all my other TVD videos, I have an entire TVD playlist. I'll leave that in the description, and you guys can check that out after the video. All right, coming in at the bottom of my list, and honestly, y'all better not be mad at who this is at the bottom, is Lizzie. I get it, she was really young, but a lot of y'all forget how old Bonnie was when she was just starting out. She was about the same age, they were all in high school, so that's not really an excuse for Miss Lizzie. But I never feel like she got up to the level of Josie, her sister. She never blew me away with any big spells in the show and Legacies. And then they screwed up the show. They made her a heretic. She did not impact the show. She did not impact the show significantly enough for me. Honestly, they were better off just keeping her as a regular vampire. She was not compatible to me. She did not give witch, if you know what I mean. No, she didn't give witch. Lizzie, you at the bottom. The Lizzie fans, don't be mad. She just could have been better. If you want to be mad at somebody, blame Julie Plec. Speaking of Josie, she's up next. I was blown away many a times in Legacies by her powers. It's just that there's so many other witches on this list that I feel could easily beat her. At one point in Legacies, I found myself debating oh my god, is she a better witch than Hope? That was how good she was at certain points in Legacies. I found myself thinking okay, low key, why is she impressing me more than Hope? Just because she's number 8 on the list don't mean that she was weak. Lizzie, I will say I don't think she was that powerful, but Josie, she could actually hold her own. She was the prodigy of that school. She was really, really good. Coming up next is Kai. No, this is no shade to the Geminis. Y'all were great. Y'all were really, really very powerful witches, but yeah, it's just the list, y'all. It's just the list. Kai, I feel he was probably one of the best villains of TVD. He gave everyone in Mystic Falls issues. They could not get rid of him. Had Bonnie not been a part of the equation, good luck to Mystic Falls. Kai was literally insane. He damn near came back to life. That is power. I do not care. Had he not been, a lunatic, I definitely think that he would have, if he was actual, he would have been higher on this list. It's just that he was crazy. He gave Bonnie problems, and Bonnie is one of the most powerful witches on this show. Because he was so evil, that took his power to a whole nother level. And you could actually see it when they did the merge with the twins in Vampire Diaries. He actually beat them. I don't know, man. I felt Kai, I felt he was unbeatable when he was on the show. The spell I feel that put him above the other two on this list is the spell that he made linking Elena and Bonnie. I feel that was that's power right there. That was power. Not only was that evil, but that shows power, and it actually held up till the very end of the show. There was no loophole that they found to break the spell. Kai, you number 7 on this list. You was powerful. All right, now the next two, it was very, very hard, y'all. I really had a hard time choosing who to put at number 6. And I know we gotta follow the technical, the food chain of the show. But I'm sorry, y'all. Coming up next is Hope. It was so hard. I wanted to put her so much higher on the list because she's a tri-bred, but I feel that's not what this ranking is about. There are so many other witches in the show that they gave a better showing than Hope. She's a tri-bred. Julie Plec could have written way more impressive spells for her in the show. Yes, I understand she's a tri-bred, so she's technically supposed to be stronger than almost everyone in the TVD universe. But for me, shock value, Hope didn't have me gag. She did not have me oh my gosh. Don't get me wrong, a lot of stuff in Legacies that happened, without her, like, it would have been over. Like, without her, who else would have been there? Josie was pretty capable. I feel like if, like, a lot of times when Hope was not present in Legacies, Josie did a lot for the school, which is why I was having that internal battle with myself. Like, bro, is, like, Josie actually better than Hope? Like, but I came to the light and no, she's not. Like, I just feel like Julie Plec, like, she could have written more impressive spells for her in the show. Like, the whole Malivore thing, like, that she did, like, that was cool and that was very powerful of her, but I wasn't blown away by that. I don't know. That scene where she was letting it all out in the church, like, that had me more, like, shocked than anything that she did in Legacies. I don't know. I just feel like in Legacies, they didn't take it up enough. Like, she's a triber. Like, show us that. Like, I was not gagged, Julie. Coming in at number 5 is Davina. Now, this is why it was hard. Like, I had issues. I know technically, like, Hope is supposed to be more powerful than Davina, but guys, I feel like Davina, like, there was one point in the originals where I thought she was unbeatable. Like, there were certain times, multiple times in the originals, where I was like, okay, that's one which the Michaelsons, I feel like, can't deal with. And to an extent, they really did have an issue and a hard time at times dealing with Davina. First of all, let's talk about the biggest thing she ever did: breaking Klaus's Sire Bond. I feel like that was the most, like, insane spell, like, Davina did in the show. The fact that she even completed it successfully. I know she was trying to do it, like, with Elijah and Klaus, but Klaus is more powerful than Elijah, and the fact that she successfully did it basically by herself, because all the other witches low-key bailed on her when she was doing it, she did that by herself, y'all. Davina, she had me blown away. She's brought so many people back from the dead so many times on her own. She brought back Cole. She accidentally brought back Esther herself. Like, I'm sorry, Davina, like, she deserves to be at number 5. Like, I know there's gonna be some people being like, what? Like, she's not more powerful than Hope. No, it's still crazy that they tried to kill her off. Like, I'm still, like, kind of, like, confused. But anyways, Davina, I don't care. She deserves to be at number 5. She had me blown away. I know she has a lot of haters. Like, I don't know if y'all mad. Like, y'all mad seeing a powerful witch? But she was powerful. I loved her. All right, coming up next is Vincent. Now, I know I'm not a big fan of Vincent, but, like, I have to give credit where credit is due. Some of the spells that Vincent did in the show were insane. Obviously, the most powerful spell he did was where he separated the hollow and put it in all the Michaelsons. Like, that was crazy. That was a crazy feat. Like, he was rarely ever defeated in the show. Like, it's very hard for me to, like, find points where Vincent was easily, like, taken down. I mean, he was the regent of the town before he bailed and made Davina be it, but, like, that just shows you how powerful he was. Klaus and them, they couldn't do anything to him because he was just so strong. I mean, obviously physically they were stronger than him, but he just had a counter for everything. Like the Michaelsons tried to throw out. Even when Freya tried to, like, go up against him, like, he was even giving Freya some issues. And Freya's an original witch. Vincent isn't, like, he's not nothing special. Yes, he come from, like, a like, strong coven. The fact that he was able to, like, drive the Michaelsons away multiple times, do these crazy spell, that hollow spell, like, I don't care. A lot of people, like, gloss over the fact that he did that and was able to successfully separate it into, like, all the siblings. That was crazy. Also, I forgot that he was the one who made the spell that turned Lucian into the original. I know, like, Freya kind of helped with her blood and whatever but he did the heavy lifting. Like, that was all him. Some of the things that he was able to do in the show, I just feel like should not have been normal for any, like, regular coven witch. All right, guys, this top 3 was so hard just because of who we have left, and I try to put some of my bias aside because I do have a lot of faves, like, on this list, a lot of favorite characters. Oh my god, this was so hard. Like, the top 3 was so hard to do, but I had to face the facts. Like, we're doing it based on power, reliability, and just who had me gagged. Basically, I based it on, like, if I were to put each person versus each other, who would win? And we actually got to see some of these in the show. Coming in at number 3 is Esther. Okay, now I know y'all gonna be like, what? She created vampires. She created all this and all that. I understand what she did. She basically created a new species. And that's why she's in the top 3. Because the other 2 witches on number 1 and number 2 have beaten her in the show. Like, in terms of, like, fights, she wouldn't really do well. Yes, I know that she created vampires. I know how crazy that is. But again, that's why she's in the top 3. But I just feel like the other 2 witches, they beat her. They beat her in the show. Obviously, I don't feel like she could have beaten Dahlia without her kids. Like, I feel like she would have gotten destroyed. But again, Dahlia not on this list, y'all. She's not on this list. But I have to just give credit where credit is due. Like, no one in the history of the show was able to do what she did. She was out of her mind, like, creating vampires. She going down in history. All right, coming in at number 2 is Freya. Now, we saw in the show, Freya was able to beat Esther. I don't care if she was in another person's body. I don't care. Obviously, the most powerful spell she did was where she literally kept them from dying and put them in that like different like world while Haley went to go find the new cures and all of that. She was literally dying herself. She had to make a potion for her brothers, a potion for Rebecca, a potion for literally everyone to keep them alive in season 3 of the originals. I feel like that was the spell that made me catapult her to the top 3 of this list, is because of that. Like, I literally remembered everything she did. Without her, the show would have ended in 3 seasons. So Freya, you're at number 2, no tea, no shade, and she deserves to be there. All right, y'all, and I know y'all are gonna be calling me biased, but coming in at number 1 is Bonnie. So to start off, the reason why she's ahead of Esther is because Esther literally needed her multiple times when she was introduced in Vampire Diaries to complete the spell that she was trying to do to reverse the whole thing that she did with her kids, reverse, quote unquote. She literally said she needed Bonnie. Like, no other witch could have done it. Obviously, it's because Bonnie was a Bennett witch, but I feel like Bonnie was just a kid. Like, she was literally a kid during those seasons. She was in high school. There were way more powerful witches in Mystic Falls at that time, but she chose Bonnie. Number 2, Bonnie was also part of the reason why they defeated Esther. That's another thing. That's another reason why I put Freya ahead of Esther as well. Like, we've seen both of them defeat her in the show, and Esther's supposed to be the biggest, the baddest, the most powerful. Like, no. Anytime that they needed to deal with the Michelsons, the originals, Bonnie was the only person in the show to be able to do anything. She helped them against Cole. She helped them against Klaus multiple times. How many times did she die and come back to life? And how many times did she literally have to resurrect herself? Like, there was no one else on the show that was like doing all these spells to bring Bonnie back to life. Bonnie literally pulled herself out of the like depths of hell to bring herself back into the show. She literally resurrected multiple people and herself multiple times in the show. And not to mention, Bonnie was the anchor to the other side. Like, no one else could do that. Everyone dying had to pass through her. Like, y'all can't tell me Bonnie is not the most powerful witch. I rarely can think of any time that she was beaten in the show. Like, if they wanted to show Bonnie get beat, they would have showed us. I could not bring myself to put her any lower than number 1 on this list. It just all makes sense. Like, they're like, who's beating her in a one-on-one? And I would like to see, like, who's beating Bonnie in a one-on-one? Like, I literally feel like she could kill anybody she wanted to in the show. They just never, like, allowed her to. But, like, if she wanted to literally annihilate Mystic Falls, she could have very well done it, and I would have been right there beside her. Alright, guys, that was me ranking the best witches from the Vampire Diaries. This was so hard. This is probably one of the hardest ranking, like, lists I had to make. Like, this was so hard. I went back and forth so many times. I had to like rewatch certain scenes. I had to do some research, y'all. But in the end, I knew the truth. I knew the truth. Let me know your list. Let me know your ranking in the comments. I want to know who y'all would put at the very bottom and who y'all would say is the most powerful, because it is subjective. I did add like people who shocked me, had me the most like surprised in the show. So I want to know you guys' own in the comments. Leave those down below, because I'm gonna be replying, because we're open criticism here. But yeah, guys, thank you guys so much for watching. Again, if you want to check out my other TVD videos, I have an entire playlist. I'll leave that linked down in the description, and you guys can check that out after the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon in the next video.